plenty of stuff here to open up lots of conversation. So do we want to get cracking on grass? Okay, because again, as we talked about, you know, there's our disclaimer, we won't worry too much about it. Quick quiz, can everyone name the seed heads? What's the top one? Phalaris, beautiful. Next one? Beautiful. This one, that gets people. No. Fescue? Okay, this one? Prairie grass, love it, great stuff. All right, and this ryegrass, all right, just to warm you up, all right. These are all temperate species. Okay, what we know about temperate species, they tend to like growing in the cooler months, you know, from about now through till about November. All right, some of them will have some more summer activity, you know, particularly some of the summer active fescues. So we're going to talk a little bit about just touching base, a bit of a refresher on what sort of grasses are out there as well for people that, you know, want a bit of an update. Okay, look, pasture's all about strategy. We often think about it as, you know, just as stuff that grows, but I think, you know, when you're looking at a farm from a systems base, you know, I think it's really important if you have the opportunity to plan pastures to actually use it. You know, you're actually developing a strategy. And in any strategy, it's about long-term planning. And there's some things that you really need to understand. Because we might think that we want to grow lucerne, all right? But if our enterprise has no real use for lucerne, just because you want to grow it, doesn't actually mean it's a good idea, okay? It may be completely unsuitable to our farm or our climate, or, you know, we may not have the ability to manage lucerne. All right, lucerne can be a fantastic feed as well, so don't get me wrong. But, you know, actually being really mindful about why you're doing stuff in your pasture system is really, really important. And there's things you need to think about. You need to think, well, what's your actual business? You know, am I a cow-calf business that's happy to sell a weaner off the back of a cow? Okay, because the pasture requirements for that are completely different to a system that wants to do finishing on grass. Okay, if you want to do finishing young stock on grass, you have to have much more digestible pastures, much higher quality pastures in your pasture system than a cow-calf system. Cow-calves are great because cows can turn moderate quality feed into milk to grow calves up to weaning, all right? You can't finish cattle on moderate quality feed, okay? So thinking about your business when you're thinking about your pasture strategy is really, really important. What are your soils like? You know, are they actually suitable to the stuff you want to grow, or is there something better for the soils that you've got? If you've got acidy hills with lots of aluminium in them, it's a very, very different decision to what you might be doing on nice alluvials down on the flats. Okay, so again, understanding your soils and your soil types when you're building your pasture strategy is very, very important. You may have the opportunity to modify those soils, but there are some things that we just can't change. You know, poor drainage is poor drainage. It's really, really hard to fix, okay? Good drainage and soils that don't hold moisture, different story again, all right? When do you need feed? Okay, because different things grow at different times of year. Okay, if you have a requirement for a lot of winter feed, okay, and good quality winter feed in your system, you need to have something other than subtropical grasses in your system. All right, subtropical grasses might be fine if you're calving cows in November and you want your milk peak to follow your grass curve peak across summer and early autumn. But when you get out, if you're trying to calve cows onto dry standing feed with no winter feed strategy, you're going to have issues. Okay, how important is fodder conservation in your business? It may not be important at all right? But if it is important, growing stuff that can actually be conserved easily is important. How short or long is your season? Okay, or how predictable is your season? So if we go to areas like the south of Western Australia, where I do quite a bit of work, those guys down there, they get a highly predictable season every year between about April and October. It's very short, it's very sharp, all right? In that situation, there's not a lot of benefit in spending money on stuff that grows in November and December. All right, so we spend money on stuff that grows very quickly, accumulates biomass, they're grasses that hold good standing feed, and if we get a good season, they're easy to conserve. All right? So just trying to, again, think about how all that works in with you and your farm is really, really important. Your attitudes to risk and stocking rate, okay? Also very, very important. If you're really risk averse, okay, and that's okay, okay, and you want to run a low stocking rate system, that's quite different to what you need to be thinking about with a high stocking rate system. High stocking rate systems, you tend to probably use things that are going to be more responsive to fertiliser, are a bit more resilient to hard grazing. And just your general philosophy of management system, fertiliser and other inputs. And I'm not saying there's a wrong and a right system here, okay, but we will see everything in a room of people like this from people that are high input that want to use lots of fertiliser, lots of nitrogen, to people that are going, very conservative, regenerative farm type systems, okay, that are gaining more and more prominence, okay, and that have got a much lower level of input. None of them are wrong, they're just different, okay, and it's understanding that different pastures and pasture strategies will have different fits within the system that you want to manage. Setting up funds. Look, I really like this idea of what we call a portfolio approach, and we do this with our dairies. And a portfolio, okay, it's a bit like if at the moment all our money was in shares, and particularly shares that might be exposed to an oil company, and if we had to sell all those tomorrow, given what's happening with oil, that'd be a bad look, all right? So we should really think, I think, particularly in areas with highly variable rainfall patterns. Okay, now when you come up to Gloucester and regions like this, and the closer you get to the coast, the more this is the case, the less predictable is your rainfall, all right? Now we're going to get rain most years. We haven't had any for the last 3 years, and I'm well aware of that. But most years, or 3 out of 5, 4 out of 5 years, we get some sort of an autumn. 2 out of 5 years, we get some sort of a spring, okay? And there'll be half good ones in between, So we just, here where we're exposed to coastal rain, and occasionally if the fronts are coming far enough north in winter, we get winter and spring rain as well, okay? We just can't call it every year. Spring can be any month of the year, it's when it rains, all right? And at the moment we've got spring, I guess, except it's coming with subtropical grasses. So we have to have part of our portfolio something that'll grow really well now. Right? If we were all weighted towards temperates and all our subtropicals were gone, we could be in a bit of a hole right at the moment, even with a good season. So again, thinking about having a bit of mix and matching across your farm system. So, we might have some kikuyu. We've got system, and this is all off a very, properties within a similar area. There's a kikuyu system. We've got an aggressive annual ryegrass-based system here. We've got legumes and herbs, which can be pretty fantastic as well. We'll talk a little bit about those, chicories and the like. And we've got dryland pastures. Having some of this available within your system, that means something will grow at any time of year when it does rain, okay, does give you a bit more coverage across a 12-month space. So, and you look at this, and this could be a feed curve, and this could be a winter calving type herd, all right? So we've got a winter calving type beef herd, we've got an increase in feed requirement here as our cows are milking, and then we're going to hold our weaners for a little while, all right? And they're going to be eating a bit more tucker. All right, and then we offload a heap, and then we've got to reduce feed requirement. This is a classic sort of temperate pasture curve. So this is what we'd call sort of like a ryegrass curve. If you've sown it early in March, you get a bit of feed here, then it drops off in winter, and then we get a really good spring. But we've got a real issue at this time of year, haven't we, in that sort of system, if that's when we need feed. Okay, this is what we get when we put a cereal crop over the top. All right, so we might be looking at something really high yielding and short term in that system. That can start filling in a feed gap for part of our farm. We're talking about winter feed, all right, if we're short of winter feed. The cereal crops, or brassicas, there's a bunch of things, annual ryegrass, we can use to fill a hole here that might be present where we've got a perennial system, okay, that's temperate based. This starts filling this hole. Now, part of our farm has got some subtropicals in it as well, okay? We start to then be able to be in a position where we can provide feed for our enterprise for a lot more of the year. Okay, so thinking about not your farm as one whole generic system, but in sort of sub-units, okay, it can be really, really valuable as far as evening out feed supply is concerned and improving the probability of some of that feed matching up rain events when they do occur. All right? Now you can do it within a pasture to a degree. Okay, we can have mixed pastures that grow different things. The problem is once you get a lot of subtropicals into a pasture and you get a very good year like this year, particularly off the back of a dry time, those subtropicals can completely dominate, okay, and take out the temperate species,